You've probably spent most of your life doing what needed to be done. Working hard, raising children, caring for family, putting others first, over and over again. And now, here you are, somewhere after 60. Maybe recently retired. Maybe still easing into what comes next. But for the first time in a long time, something deep inside is asking you a different kind of question, not what should I be doing, but what really matters now. Because there comes a point, whether you call it retirement, reinvention, or simply your time, when life stops being about chasing more and starts being about choosing better. And here's the truth that nobody tells you enough. Sometimes, choosing better means letting go. Not piling more onto your plate, but removing what's been weighing you down, old habits, outdated beliefs, silent expectations. So in this video, we're going to talk honestly, openly, and with kindness about 9 things you may want to stop doing after 60. Not because you've done anything wrong, but because you've earned something better. You've earned peace. You've earned purpose. You've earned the right to live with lightness and joy. Let's start with something many of us carry far longer than we need to. Stop worrying about what others think. I want to begin here because it's one of the quietest burdens we carry, and also one of the heaviest. From a young age, we learn to look outward for approval. Be a good daughter, a good husband, a reliable friend, a responsible parent, a loyal employee. We learn the rules, follow them, and try to measure up. But what happens after decades of being what others needed you to be, when you finally ask, what do I need for myself? I remember talking to a woman named Linda, 67 years old, a retired nurse from Wisconsin. Linda always loved painting. Her whole life, she dreamed of taking a watercolor class, just for fun. But every time she considered signing up, she'd hesitate. I'm not an artist, she told me. What if I look foolish? What if people think it's silly at my age? I smiled gently and said, Linda, what if they do? Then what? A month later, she enrolled in the class. Not to impress anyone, not to become famous, just to do something she'd always wanted to do. And you know what? It changed her life, not because she suddenly discovered hidden talent, but because for the first time in decades, she gave herself permission to live her life, not the version that made everyone else comfortable. Here's the thing. After 60, you've earned the right to stop performing. You don't have to explain why you said no to that event, or why you travel alone now, or why you choose to spend your mornings walking in silence instead of keeping up with a busy schedule. If bold colors make you happy, wear them. If you want to dance at a family wedding, even though no one else your age is, go for it. There's a book written by a hospice nurse named Bronnie Ware, where she talks about the top regrets people share at the end of their lives. The number 1 regret? I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Let that settle in. Because the older you get, the more freedom you have to stop worrying about the noise around you. Be yourself, fully, without apology. Because there's only one you, and it's never too late to show up for your own life. Which brings us to something equally powerful. Number 2. Stop spending on what doesn't bring you joy. Now that you're learning to let go of what other people expect, let's talk about what you expect from your money, your choices, your time. Because it's not just about spending less, it's about spending better. I once sat with a man named Harold, 72, a retired postal worker in Oregon. He told me he used to buy things constantly, new clothes, electronics, gadgets he barely used. He didn't really think about it. It had just become a habit. He said, every time I bought something, I thought I'd feel a little happier. But it never lasted. Then one day, his daughter surprised him with a trip to visit his brother on the East Coast. It was a simple weekend. No luxury, no big expenses. Just memories, staying up late, laughing over childhood stories, making pancakes like they used to when they were kids. And he told me, that trip meant more to me than all the things I bought in the last 5 years. That's the shift we're talking about. After 60, your time is more valuable than ever, and so is your money. So don't waste either on things that don't nourish your heart. Don't buy out of guilt. Don't give gifts because you feel obligated. Don't shop to fill an emotional gap you haven't paused long enough to name. Instead, take a breath and ask yourself, does this bring me joy? Does it reflect what I truly value? For some people, joy might be traveling to see family more often. For others, it's giving to their grandchild's college fund. For someone else, it might be that new ergonomic chair that finally helps their back feel better. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It just has to feel right for you. And not every moment of joy costs money. Sometimes the richest experiences are free. A handwritten letter to an old friend, a slow walk through the park without checking your phone, an afternoon watching birds with a cup of tea. That's the difference between spending and spending well. So don't chase discounts if they don't serve you. Don't keep up appearances just to fit in. Spend your resources, your time, your money, your energy on the things that matter to you. That's not selfish. That's wise. And here's the beauty of this new chapter. You no longer have to ask for permission to enjoy your life. You've earned it. Number 3. Stop living like you have forever. Let's be honest about something most of us don't say out loud. We live like we have forever. We put off the big things, the meaningful things, the things that tug at our hearts, because we assume there's always more time. But by the time you reach 60, you've likely already been touched by loss. Maybe a friend, a partner, a sibling. Maybe a parent you thought would be here longer. And somewhere deep down, you begin to understand that life doesn't always give you a warning. That's why it's time to stop living like you have forever. I once worked with a couple, Jerry and Yvonne, both in their early 70s. For years, they dreamed of driving across the country in an old RV. They talked about it every year. Next summer, they'd say, after the holidays. But something always came up. Grandkids' school schedules, a leaky roof, a little worry about finances. Then one winter, Jerry had a minor stroke. He recovered well, but it shook them. And suddenly, the dream didn't feel optional anymore. It felt urgent. Within 3 months, they bought the RV, mapped out a route, and hit the road. When I spoke to them 6 months later, they weren't glowing about how perfect every day was. They were glowing because they finally did it. They didn't wait for everything to align. They said yes while they still could. That's the power of living with awareness. Because the goal isn't to panic about time, it's to respect it. Ask yourself, if you knew this was your last year, what would you stop tolerating? What would you start doing? Who would you call? What would you finally say? Most of us know the answer immediately. And yet we wait. For what? More approval? The perfect plan? Let me tell you, perfection is just fear in disguise. Don't let it rob you of the moments you still have. Because no matter how old you are, the world still holds magic for you. But it only shows up when you say yes. Yes to today. Yes to imperfection. Yes to joy. And that brings us to something closely related. Another belief that can quietly rob you of your peace. Number 4. Stop saving out of fear. Now I know, this one can sound strange at first. Saving money is one of the most responsible things we're taught. From a young age, we're told to prepare for a rainy day. And for most of your life, that mindset has served you well. But after 60, something shifts. Saving out of fear, as in hoarding money because you're afraid to use it, can start to limit your life instead of protect it. I'll never forget a man named Walt, 68, a retired engineer from Arizona. Walt had done everything right. He saved aggressively, invested wisely, paid off his home. He had over $1.5 million in retirement savings, more than enough for his modest lifestyle. But every time his wife suggested they take a cruise, replace their old sofa, or even eat at a nicer restaurant, Walt would say, "What if we need that money later?" One day I asked him, "What if later never comes the way you think it will? What if you never use it?" That question landed. He sat quietly for a moment, then nodded. "That's exactly what I'm afraid of," he said. "That I'll leave this earth with a full account and an empty list of memories." Here's the truth. If you've prepared well and your needs are covered, your money is not just for emergencies. It's for living, for connection, for comfort, for the joy of being alive right now. This doesn't mean being reckless, but it does mean giving yourself permission to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Your savings are a tool, not a prison. Use them wisely, yes, but don't let fear steal your golden years. Shift your mindset from "what if I run out" to "what do I want to experience while I still can?" You didn't work all those years just to feel anxious every time you spend a little on yourself. And this leads right into the next trap so many people fall into after retirement. Number 5. Stop ignoring or obsessing over your financial plan. It's two sides of the same coin, really. On one side, there are those who avoid looking at their finances altogether. Maybe because it feels overwhelming, or maybe because they're afraid of what they'll find. They say things like, "I'll deal with it later," or "I just don't understand any of this stuff." But avoidance doesn't make money problems go away. It makes them grow in the dark. After 60, you need to have a clear picture. How much income you'll need each month, what your backup plan is if your health changes, and whether your savings are truly aligned with the life you want to live. You don't need to be a financial expert, but you do need clarity. That's what gives you peace of mind. On the other side, you've got people who think about money constantly. They run the numbers every week. They worry about every expense. They delay joy for the sake of tax optimization. I once had a client, Karen, who couldn't enjoy a vacation without checking her investment portfolio at breakfast. And I told her something that changed her outlook. A great retirement plan isn't just about a high account balance. It's about a life well lived. Your financial plan should support your life, not dictate it. If you've already met with your advisor, reviewed your accounts, and covered your basics, then let it go. Don't let the need for perfect planning prevent you from saying yes to today. So whether you've been ignoring your finances or obsessing over them, the solution is the same. Use money as a tool, a means to build a life filled with freedom, not fear. Because when it comes down to it, the goal isn't to die with the most unspent dollars. It's to live with the most unforgettable moments. Now let's talk about something that's easy to ignore until it isn't. Something many of us put on the back burner because we were too busy working, caring for family, or just try to get through the day. But after 60, it's no longer something you can afford to overlook. Number 6. Stop neglecting your health. I say this not to scare you, but to remind you that your body is the only vehicle you've got to carry you through the years ahead. And the truth is, it doesn't matter how much money you've saved or how many plans you've made. If you don't have the energy or mobility to enjoy them, it can all slip through your fingers. I once worked with a man named Roberto, 70, a retired bus driver from Florida. He used to say, "I'll take better care of myself when I have more time." But when retirement came, he realized his body was already stiff, tired, and aching. He told me, "I waited too long to make my health a priority." But the good news? It wasn't too late. Roberto started small. Daily walks around the block, stretching each morning. He swapped out soda for water and joined a low-impact fitness class at the community center. A year later, he wasn't running marathons, but he was moving better, sleeping better, and smiling more than he had in years. That's what I want you to hear. You don't need to change everything overnight. You don't need to become a health nut or count every calorie. But you do need to take that first step, because every small decision adds up to more freedom, more energy, more confidence in your body. Try one healthy meal this week. Schedule the doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Join a gentle yoga class or take up Tai Chi. Move your body in ways that feel good. Because your health isn't about vanity anymore, it's about vitality. It's about being able to travel without pain, to get down on the floor and play with your grandkids, to garden, to dance, to wake up feeling strong enough to enjoy the day. Your health is your foundation, and every day you care for it, you're giving yourself the gift of more life. Now let's shift into something many people don't even realize they're still doing well into retirement, and that's the habit of equating time with money. Number 7. Stop trading time for money. Unless, of course, that trade still fills you with purpose. For most of your adult life, time and money have been linked. You worked. You earned. You showed up day after day, sometimes even when you were exhausted or unappreciated, because that paycheck mattered. It was how you supported your family, paid your bills, built your security. But after 60, something powerful changes. Your time becomes your most valuable asset. And so the question becomes, why are you still working? Is it because you love what you do, or because you're afraid of what comes next? I once met a woman named Sheila, 66, who worked at a law firm as a paralegal. She didn't dislike her job, but when we talked, it was clear she was staying out of habit more than joy. "I don't know what I'd do if I stopped," she said. "I've been working since I was 18. That's a common feeling. For some, their job has become part of their identity. For others, it's simply the structure they're used to. And if your work still brings you energy, meaning, and connection, keep doing it. There's no rule that says you have to retire at a certain age. But if you feel drained, if you find yourself watching the clock or fantasizing about slow mornings and quiet afternoons, it might be time to ask, what am I really working for now? Because you can always earn more money. You can't earn more time. And no paycheck, no matter how big, can buy back a single day that's already gone. So ask yourself honestly, is your time being spent in ways that reflect what matters to you? Are you working by choice or by fear? If it's fear, you deserve to pause, to reassess, and maybe to give yourself the freedom you've been delaying for far too long. That leads us to something that often hides beneath all the busyness we create for ourselves, the habit of postponing what we truly want. Number 8. Stop putting off experiences. This one is big, maybe the biggest of all, because too many people wait until it's too late. They wait for the perfect time to travel, the right moment to reconnect with an old friend, the magical window where everything will line up perfectly so they can finally write that book, take that cooking class, or start that garden. But here's the truth. Someday is not a day on the calendar. I once met a man named Gene, 74, who had talked for years about visiting the Grand Canyon. It was something he dreamed about since he was a teenager, but he kept postponing. "I'll go next spring," he'd say, or "once I finish renovating the kitchen." When his wife passed away unexpectedly, he realized he had been waiting for a moment that was never guaranteed. A few months later, he booked the trip. He went alone, and when he came back, he said, "I cried when I saw it, not just because it was beautiful, but because I finally stopped waiting to say yes to myself." How many dreams have you postponed? A letter you've been meaning to write, a place you've always wanted to see, a hobby that lights you up inside. Don't let routine become an excuse. Don't let fear be the voice that says, "Not yet," because you don't need anyone else's permission to live. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need the courage to begin. Today, in whatever small way feels right for you. You are not too old. It is not too late. The world is still full of wonder, waiting for you to step into it. Let's talk about something that seems small until you realize how much space it takes up in your mind. Something that slips into your daily routine, disguised as staying informed, but slowly chips away at your peace, your hope, your joy. It's time to stop watching the doom and gloom. Now, to be clear, this is not about ignoring the world or pretending that hard things aren't happening. Being informed is important. Being engaged, aware, thoughtful, that matters. But there's a difference between being informed and being emotionally consumed. If you spend hours every day watching the news, whatever the channel, you're likely filling your heart and mind with a constant stream of fear, anger, and despair. Over time, that takes a toll. It builds up silently, and suddenly you find yourself more anxious, more hopeless, more withdrawn. You start to believe the world is worse than it really is, and you stop seeing the beauty that's still out there. I once met a woman named Darlene, 69, a retired school principal in Ohio. She told me, "I didn't even realize how much it was affecting me until I stopped watching the news for a week. I felt lighter. I slept better. I laughed more." That's when it hit her. She had been feeding her worry without even noticing. You see, most media today isn't built to inform. It's built to hook your attention. And fear is the strongest hook there is. But the real question isn't whether the news is bad. It's whether consuming it is helping you live better. Ask yourself, after you've watched the news for an hour, do you feel more empowered? More hopeful? More ready to take action in your own life? Or do you just feel worse? After 60, your attention becomes one of your most valuable resources. You've seen a lot. You've lived through good times and hard ones. You know that life is never all light or all dark. But the stories you let into your heart, those shape your days. So choose wisely. Limit how much negativity you absorb. Turn off the television when it becomes too much. Seek out uplifting voices, books, music, stories, shows that remind you of the good in the world. There are still kind people doing kind things. There's still art and laughter and sunsets and handwritten notes. There's still love. Don't let the noise of the world drown out your peace. And now here we are. We've gone through all 9 things to stop doing after 60, not because you failed, but because you've grown. Because you've earned the right to choose differently. Let's take a quiet moment to remember what we've covered. Let go of the need to please everyone around you. Let go of the mindless spending that doesn't light you up inside. Let go of the illusion that time will always be there. Let go of the fear around spending the money you've carefully saved. Let go of financial avoidance or obsession that keeps you stuck. Let go of neglecting the body that carries you through your precious days. Let go of trading your time for money when your soul is asking for something more. Let go of postponing the experiences that make you feel alive. And let go of the endless stream of negativity that clouds your mind and dims your spirit. Because the truth is, you don't have forever. None of us do. But what you do have is today. You have this moment. You have this breath. You have the ability to choose differently, starting now. And that is enough. You don't need to overhaul your entire life. You don't need to figure everything out all at once. You just need to begin, one decision at a time. One brave choice to let go of what no longer serves you and make space for what does. Letting go is not giving up. It's not weakness. It's strength. It's wisdom. It's how we make room for the peace, joy, and meaning that have been waiting for us all along. So before we end, I want to ask you something personal. What are you ready to let go of, starting today? Really think about it. Is it the fear of what others might say? The guilt that comes from resting? The habit of putting yourself last? Whatever it is, you are not alone. And if you feel ready, I invite you to share it in the comments. Your words might be the very thing someone else needs to hear today. Your voice might give someone else permission to start again. And if this message spoke to you, if it reminded you of your worth, your wisdom, your possibilities, please consider sharing it with someone you love. A friend, a sibling, a spouse, someone who might also be quietly carrying more than they need to. Because we're all walking each other home. And sometimes, the best thing we can offer is a gentle reminder. You still have time to live the life that's waiting for you. We believe aging isn't about slowing down. It's about showing up more fully than ever before. Showing up for yourself, for what matters, for the people you love and the life you still get to shape. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time, your trust, your heart. And above all, thank you for reminding the world that it is never too late to live a life of purpose, connection, and joy. We'll see you in the next video.